Speaker is Chris Nineham on behalf of Stop the War Coalition.
Thanks very much, and thanks everyone for coming today. A lot of speakers have outlined the disastrous and catastrophic nature of the situation in Yemen at the moment, and I just want to say that I think this 4th anniversary of the war on Yemen is shameful in a whole number of ways for the British government. First of all, it has involved Britain in support of one of the most reactionary, authoritarian and repressive regimes anywhere in the world, the Saudi regime, which imprisons dissidents and tortures dissidents, which allows no freedom of speech, which is a totalitarian regime and shouldn't have the kind of support of any kind from the British government, but certainly shouldn't be the recipient of the huge levels of diplomatic political support that it is getting from Britain, but also of the arms sales that have actually increased dramatically over the last 4 years during this catastrophic intervention. That's shameful in itself, but it is also shameful that at the very time when those arms sales are going up, the Saudis are involved in leading what is one of the most serious military operations that is taking place anywhere around the world, an operation which, according to the United Nations, has already caused the biggest humanitarian catastrophe of any kind anywhere on the globe. That's an appalling thing for the British government to be doing. And it is also shameful that Britain is involved in this operation, tied very, very closely and very much supported by the US under its current administration. This is one of the outcomes of the appalling fact that Britain is continuing the special relationship at a time when the US has this appalling reactionary regime, really the most reactionary and one of the most aggressive presidents the United States has ever had. And finally, it's a shameful policy that is being pursued, because it is creating a massive level of destabilization and a very, very dangerous and volatile situation across the Middle East. What's happening here is that there's a new configuration, a new alliance that is developing between the US, Israel, the Gulf states, with the full support of Britain, that is leading to increased tension, the danger of regional war breaking out, particularly against Iran, but also involving increasing support for Israel at a time when it is crushing the Palestinian people. On every level, this policy is an utter disgrace, and we have to, as previous speakers have said, we have to do everything we can to increase the opposition, to spread the word about the dangers of the policy that Theresa May and our government is pursuing. And I think it's quite extraordinary that, given the level of death and destruction and given the threat which now is raised, if this war continues at the current levels of intensity, the United Nations is saying it is possible that millions of people will die in Yemen as a direct result of this intervention. And it's really an extraordinary fact, given that, and given Britain's own participation in this war. It's not just support, it's not just arms sales, it's not just diplomatic and political backing. We know today, we've been told, it's been released, that British forces are directly involved in the military intervention. Given these things, the fact that there is such media silence on the question is absolutely shocking and absolutely outrageous. And we need to do everything we can now. We need to redouble our efforts to make sure that this issue of this catastrophic war becomes something that is known across society, becomes a popular issue, becomes a popular campaign. I am absolutely convinced that if the vast majority of British people knew what was going on, they would be opposed to it. Our job now is to spread the word. Our job is to step up the campaign. Our job is to get out the information about this catastrophe, about this shameful episode in British foreign policy, and make sure that there is a change, and make sure that the collusion and the participation ends. So thanks everyone for coming today. We're going to keep up the campaign. We're going to continue to protest, We're going to continue to have public meetings up and down the country to try and turn this into a campaign that can force the government to end this absolutely disastrous and disgraceful war. Thank you very much.